leading the charge to make the 2024 Broker Carrier Summit possible, and we are so excited to have their support. In case you haven't heard, TAFS offers much more than freight factoring. It provides a comprehensive support system for trucking companies of all sizes, specializing in fast and efficient invoice factoring with the ability to pay carriers in as little as 1 hour. And TAFS services go well beyond factoring, offering a fuel card that unlocks major fuel discounts, flexible business loans that are designed to cater to the distinct needs of a carrier's operations, a dedicated, responsive client experience team, and much more. Black Box Logistics is a 3PL freight brokerage based out of Birmingham, Alabama. Black Box Logistics was formed in 2020 by 3 friends, Logan Dyer, William Graves, and Will Hopkins, in a basement office with the goal of bringing transparency around the clock communication and hassle-free customer experience to the table. LoadBase is a logistics software solution that simplifies the process of tracking carriers. Multi-service fuel card, the industry's first fuel card, was created by an over-the-road truck driver in 1978 to offer a safe, simple, and cost-effective way to handle fuel and trucking expenses. Initially, it addressed safety concerns of carrying cash on the road. Today, it combats advanced fraud with best-in-class technical and personal support. Sales-CRM is built for freight broker and agent sales teams. Manage your shipper prospecting and follow-ups. Organize your carriers in the lanes they run. HD Ships is a leading logistics provider specializing in sustainable and tech-driven freight solutions. With hubs in Reno, Phoenix, and London, we deliver comprehensive services, including full truckload, expedited cross-border, and intermodal freight. Leveraging proprietary technology, we offer 24/7 tracking, real-time visibility, and advanced automation to ensure safe, compliant, and efficient transportation. Our commitment to sustainability enables clients to offset emissions through carbon credits, aligning logistics with environmental goals. At HD Ships, we prioritize transparency, reliability, and exceptional customer service, empowering clients to achieve seamless, sustainable logistics solutions worldwide.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday.
What's up, Matt? Happy Friday.
How's the week going?
It's been good, man. Excited to get past all the holiday, New Year stuff and get back rolling. It's been good though. What's popping in Colombia?
It was a little long for me too, man. It was kind of weird here. Like New Year's Eve, like in the States, everyone's out till 2, 3 in the morning. Here, all the restaurants and everything close at 7 o'clock. It's like a family day, New Year's Eve here. So it was pretty boring. Not a lot to do. I'm glad to be back in the swing of things too. Well, yeah, shout out to our sponsors, Multi-Service Fuel Card. They've been around since 1978. They partner with brokers too. I think it's the longest fuel card out there. We've had Jamie, who was on last week, is a proud user of Multi-Service Fuel Card. Black Box Logistics, HD Ships, obviously where I recruit agents for, and Will's company. Will be back next week. By the way, just a heads up for everybody. I just talked to him a couple hours ago, so he'll be back on next week. We'll actually be talking a little bit more about HD Ships today, as we have a couple of our agents on. Loadbase, premier tracking software. Stan used to be a dispatcher, knows a lot about the industry. Definitely check them out if you're looking for a tracking solution. I'll let Josh talk about Sales Dash. Actually, one of our agents who's going to be on the show today is actually a user of Sales Dash. But yeah, I'll let Josh talk on that.
Yeah, Sales Dash is a proud, happy sponsor. We're a CRM specific for freight brokers, freight agents. There's a ship primarily for shipper sales. There's a small carrier sales side to it as well. That's going to get more and more enhanced, but it's a little bit about what we do.
How's the year looking for you guys? Looks like you guys have. I know every time we talk, it seems like you guys are having massive growth.
I wouldn't say like massive, but it's just like pretty consistent, I think, for where we're at. But I'm honestly super excited. It's one of those things where you're kind of it always feels like you're just getting started, especially when it comes to software. You can just constantly be building and stuff. So yeah, we're super excited for what we're going to be able to push out within Q1. I won't share too much, but really looking forward to this year.
Yeah, you're always humble. You're having bigger growth than you said. Finally, brought to you by TAFS, our banner sponsor. They sponsor the Broker Carrier Summit, top 10 factoring company based in Kansas City. Rob, Ryan, great guys. Customer service till 12. We've had them on the show. If you want to, look more into factoring, go look at the episode or hit them up. Great people, and we're excited to have them as a sponsor. Kind of to get into it today, we're gonna have 3 of our agents on. These are all agents I recruited and know pretty well. They all came from W-2 world. I just thought it'd be fun to have them on. Their experiences of going from W-2 to agent. I know there's a couple of people that messaged me and said they were kind of curious about this and never done a show like this. So we'll probably just talk all types of freight topics and see where things go. And it should be fun.
Let's do it. Let's bring them up. Looking forward to learning about HD Ships.
How's it going, guys? What's up, Levi, Connor, Ricky? What's happening, guys?
What's going on?
Trying to get back to normal.
You guys want to just each do a quick rundown, kind of, for viewers who don't know you, kind of, a little bit about your background, in freight or whatever you want to say to kind of just get things kicked off.
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm Levi Freeman. I got in the industry, I guess, in 2017, August, I think. Was immediately put on as an operations person for a group of guys that I actually went to school with. They had just landed Tyson Foods, and I kind of learned the ins and outs of freight by managing them for 3.5 years, and sold that company to NTG, and then moved to Memphis, got some asset experience while brokering on the side. Was there for 3.5 years, and then went to W2 brokerage. Then, 2 years ago, was there a year or so, and decided to make the switch to HD and the agent lifestyle, and took some time to kind of figure out if it was, I guess it's worth it for somebody. It's not meant for everybody. But looking back 3 months into it, I'm extremely happy that I found how to do it, and it's great.
Good stuff, man. Well, how about who wants to go next, Connor or Ricky?
I'll go for it. So my name's Connor Cox. Got started on the customer side, actually. This was in 2020, into 2020, beginning of 21. Worked for a door manufacturer here in Texas. and was a salesperson. It being a smaller company, I wore a lot of different hats. So purchased material and also got with our brokers to book shipments. After a while, I got more interested in what our brokers were doing and moved over and started working for a W-2 broker. Worked there and worked in another spot for a couple of years. Kind of learned a lot. Started to build a customer base. Then I've been here now at HD. Made the jump to agent about 6-7 months ago, something like that. And yeah, loved every second of it. Should have made the jump sooner, is what I say.
I guess a question before we get to Ricky too, for Levi and Connor. What was kind of the biggest thing that kind of made you guys look at the agent route after being W-2 reps? You guys are both W-2 reps at least 2 different companies prior. What kind of made you guys decide to take a look at it?
Yeah, so for me, I just had a bunch of different either changing KPIs or changing commission plans or, that type of shipment doesn't make sense for us. Basically, the goalposts were always moving. And that's really on every facet, not just one area when I worked in W-2. I think that has to do with the nature of the business always kind of changing and moving. But at the same time, I wanted to be the controller of my own destiny, so to speak.
I agree 100% with that. I really enjoy the freedom, being able to control what I can control. I don't have to sit there till 9 o'clock because some coworker picked up some spot load that really doesn't make sense to take at that time on a Friday before Christmas or whatever. And I kind of handled previously at my past 2 W-2 experiences, I handled pretty much my freight from start to finish, scheduling appointments, everything to begin with, and decided why not make 3 times my income doing the same exact thing.
100%. I think those are 2 common things we hear. What about you, Ricky? You started your career at one of the biggest W-2 companies back 7-8 years ago, and yeah, give us kind of your background and kind of what made you look to go on the agent route.
Sure. So my story, like a lot like Connor's, I actually came from the shipper side. In 2009, I started a scrap metal company. I was buying and selling junk cars in core recycling, and I ended up in 2013 getting a scrap yard. I bought a scrap yard, and I was doing full truckloads of batteries, and I was reselling them to either Interstate or Johnson Controls. And I had a broker call me up, told him I do truckload. It was a TQL rep, and he started moving my truckload, saved me oogles of money. And me and him got kind of close. And when I decided I wanted to sell the company, he was like, dude, I could get you a job at TQL. He was like, you could make buku bucks over here. Come and do this. And I was intrigued by the industry. I did the gamut. I think I did like 2 or 3 interviews. I got a job offer at TQL in 2016, and I started at TQL. I don't have many nice things to say about TQL. I had been in business for myself. I was a successful business person and a business owner. So I came from a way of doing things, being honest, being upfront, and just getting it done. And I didn't really see that there. I wasn't there long. I was there for under a year, and went out, waited for my non-compete to run out, as you guys have talked about with the W-2 agent roles. Non-competes are a serious thing. TQL regularly enforces them on people. So I couldn't even get a job in the industry if I wanted to. So I waited, I think it was 2 years, and I ended up working at another W-2 brokerage. I really liked it there, and I was there for about 2.5 years. However, looking at what the sales rep for that W-2 brokerage were making and what I was making as a pure operational person, there was definitely a disparity. And, I kind of just pretty much kept going to ownership saying, hey, look, I love to be a broker, but I want to be able to bring on customers and start making more money. And it just never came to fruition. So we ended up parting ways, and here we are today.
100%. You had something too, I think, which is something that happens to some brokerages, especially in this market. You were at a previous brokerage that I think had some issues with paying carriers and credit that was kind of impacting your business as well, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, when I was looking at agent roles, I mean, I spoke to everybody, right? Like I spoke to Priority One. I spoke to a bunch of very small brokerages. I spoke to Armstrong. I spoke to LDI. I mean, I spoke to everybody, and I did as much homework as I could. And I asked people, successful agents that I knew, what should I look for? Dennis Brown, I asked him, hey, what should I look for? I think at the time I hadn't reached out to John Rogers, but I was like, you had him on last week. I was reading a lot about what he was saying. So I did my research. Finding a brokerage that pays its carriers, that has some sort of either outsourced billing with a factoring company that's done well, or they do it very well inside, as well as being able to streamline the onboarding of new customers and offering, credit to maybe customers that are a little on the riskier side, but not quite on the really poor side, was something that was important to me. I mean, showing up to work every day and not knowing, like out of left field, having loads pulled from you saying, hey, this customer's got to pay us. Well, we're having cash issues. We need to get money in. We can't book anymore for like no reason, was impacting my ability to make money. And that's not something that, any business owner wants to deal with. And ultimately I made the change from there to HD Ships because of those reasons. And then having carriers call me, hey, it's been 50 days. You haven't paid us yet. I mean, it's not a good look.
No, 100%. Josh is tuning in, by the way. He never watches our podcast, so it's all because of you guys are on. So I don't think I've ever seen him comment. Josh is the COO and one of the owners at HD. It's first time commenter though.
got a great name.
Yeah, 100%. Josh is great though. I love working for Josh. And
I got a quick question. So it was cool kind of hearing the background for all three of you guys. Levi, I wanted to go back to you since you were first. You said the agent lifestyle is not worth it for everybody. What do you mean by that?
Some people don't want to work till midnight. Some people, I don't know.
So let's talk about that. You've been on the W-2 side. You're an agent now. Yeah. Obviously you take more control of your business. Like there's a lot of high upside and stuff, but I was only on the W-2 side, but I agree that I think a lot of people sometimes, honestly, probably most people do need some kind of management, right? And guidance and stuff. So yeah, I guess, from your time in the W-2 world, what did that look like in the typical day in the life? And then what it looks like now for you as an agent?
I mean, W-2, I'm there at, 7, 8 a.m. every day. Leave at 4:30, 5 o'clock today. If I get everything, as long as I'm in my mind, I'm making money that I need to make. And yeah, I'm trying to push for more and more and more every day. But if I'm able to call a day short, I'm able to do that now. I can still manage my stuff on the go. HD has given us a great platform, I believe, to be able to handle the stuff on the go. My wife travels a lot for work, so I travel with her. I'm able to take an iPad. That's it. I can take a computer. I usually do just to be safe because I never know what I'm going to get myself into. But a lot of W-2 employees, they leave that laptop at the office on Friday afternoon. Mm-hmm. They don't look at it. I'm constantly looking at my stuff throughout the day, all the time. I just think a lot of people, they do need the management. They don't have the grind to get up and do something every day.
Good deal.
They're there for
an agent.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. It's not for everyone. You really have to be able to motivate yourself. I work from home. There's no one here telling me, oh, you need to make 100 calls a day, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. Because at the end of the day, if I don't sell, I don't make money. That's just how it is. For me, I work much longer hours now than I did at W2. 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. is a pretty normal work day for me, Monday through Friday. And then if something happens after 5, I'll hop back on. The weekends, Saturday morning, I check all my loads. Saturday evening, I check all my loads. Sunday morning, Sunday evening. And if something comes up, you kind of always got to be available, and that's not for everyone. I think that would be like the biggest thing is you just got to always be available if you want to be successful.
Or if you're not, I mean, there's an option too. Like you guys are all cradle to grave agent reps because you guys, have that grind, have that hustle. There's other reps too. I mean, we do have an option if you want to be split and have their own operations and want to be more of a normal schedule and just make less money. But I personally think the option of going cradle to grave and making a lot more is better. But I definitely agree with what you guys said. Sorry, Josh, I interrupted you.
No, I was going to ask Connor. So Connor, I know you made a comment too. You said you should have made the jump sooner. How long were you on the W2 side? And I did it for 2 years. Yeah, I did it for 2 years. Probably after the first year, I wish I'd made the jump. I do like, doing the W2. I got my feet wet, got to see what things are like. But honestly, once I learned how to book a truck, once I learned how to, make a cold call as it relates to logistics, I probably could have made the move and been happy.
It's trucking. It's not, you're not selling, whatever. If you can talk trucking, it's not nothing to it.
Nice. And then Ricky, for you, I mean, you started off on the carrier side, wanted to make the switch over to be more cradle to grave and stuff. I mean, you were a business owner before, but how has that transition getting into the sales side? Because, I know the shipper sales side with the cold calling and stuff, obviously not easy, but how was that transition for you?
So in the beginning, it's stressful, right? Because for me, I have a family that I support, as I'm sure Levi and Connor have their responsibilities as well. So there was a lot of pressure, when I pulled over to the agent role I didn't have customers that I just signed on. I didn't bring anybody with me. I started from scratch this year, and I did that. There was pressure in the beginning, and then once I got things going, it felt it was a lot smoother. 100 calls a day. I think you could do that. I think there's a better way to do it. I mean, I'll just be upfront and honest. Like I took a sales accelerator course. Dennis Brown has it. And I really refined my language to be specific in the shipping world. And like Levi pointed out, like if you can talk trucking, you talk shipping. If you specifically know about the product that you're going to be putting on the truck, you can have a pretty good conversation. It doesn't even necessarily have to be about, hey, what do you have going on? It could be specifically about their business. I have a sales background. I owned a company, but I had also worked in the uniform industry, and I was successful in that. So it was all hunter, all new business development. So I had that. I feel like that carryover was substantial, but with what we do, you could, I don't know if anybody could just come on as a salesperson and maybe Connor and Levi to see if you agree with me. I don't think somebody could just come on, not know anything about trucking, come on as a broker salesperson and make 100 phone calls a day and suddenly be rocking and rolling in 3 months. I mean, you have to know about the industry in order to be successful in the sales aspect to it.
Yeah. At least basic trucking knowledge. Not the 34-hour research.
That was pretty impressive, Ricky, though. I mean, to start over from scratch, and I mean, I'm not going to share details, but I mean, you're doing very, very well for someone who started over from scratch this year. Obviously, you had the experience. You've been in the game since 2016, but it was pretty impressive.
I can share it. I did combined total this year. Obviously, some of it was with HD now. I did over $1 million in revenue for 2024. I don't, I'm not doing 30% GP like your buddy John Rogers. I wish I was. It's not like that, but I do well. I do well for myself.
Well, what are your guys kind of, speaking of sales? I mean, we have all salespeople on here. I mean, Josh is a sales guy. What are your guys' kind of, how are you guys go about, for anyone, watching, kind of just move it a little bit away from the agent for a bit? I mean, what are your guys' sales tactics right now? How are you guys doing prospecting? I'm sure there's some brokers, listening, and you guys are all at least $1 million. I know some of you guys on this call are a couple million too. Even you guys, probably between the three of you guys, are selling and moving a lot of freight. So what are some of your guys' kind of advice to some new sales reps, or how are you guys going about prospecting sales right now?
Yeah. So for me, I've never been the big power dialer. Let's call everyone under the sun. I don't make anywhere near 100 calls a day. I make 15 to 20. I try to know everything I can about whoever I'm calling, and not even just trucking. If I can get a conversation started with them on who's their favorite sports team, well, let's talk about that. That's going to be the biggest thing for me is targeting my calls more than anything. And then I'm big on LinkedIn messaging. I message a ton of people on LinkedIn. I wish I could say I have a rhyme or a reason on how I do things. My biggest thing is I remember being on the other side of all of these emails, all of these calls. My biggest thing is just to know what I can about these people, about these shippers, whoever I'm calling about their product. Because the shipper's going to know right away if you're just running down a list.
What was the typical pitch that you got, Connor, on the shipper side?
Every time I can save you money. I can save you money. If you're selling for money, you're already going to lose. Like if you're selling on price, you're already going to lose. Can sometimes I beat your other provider's price? Yeah, sure. Sometimes I can, but that shouldn't be our main focus. And that was always what I got hit with, was I can beat whatever you're paying right now, or I've got the best service. Yeah, you might have really good service, but you got to do more than just say I have the best, because the other 10 brokers who called me before said they did too.
How did you approach how many brokers you were actively quoting at a given time? Did you have kind of a set number that you always wanted?
So for us, it kind of towards the end there worked itself out to where someone screwed up on a pickup, telling me the truck's going to be there in 30 minutes. It's going to be there in 30 minutes. It's going to be there in 30 minutes for, 4 hours. Things of those nature, it kind of whittled it down to where we really only needed 2. We had one guy who did a lot of our Texas to Texas stuff, and then one guy who did anything outbound, or like long distance. And that was kind of how we kept things. It was easier that way for everyone. And that's always the shippers I kind of look for as well. Like I said, it was a door manufacturer. I still have customers I sold doors to that I still work with today. My oldest customer I actually used to buy wood from. They're like 15 minutes down the road from me. But that's the other thing, is building those relationships. A lot of business now comes from referrals. Right before Christmas, I onboarded 2 new people that were both referrals from this customer I've had forever. So my biggest focus is kind of growing within and then targeting really specifically whenever I'm cold.
Is that pretty similar for you on your side, Ricky?
Yeah. So I definitely stick to the niche. I really try to do that. One of the biggest things that I try to do when I cold call is I'll do a quick 30-second to 2-minute research. So I'll Google, the company's name, see if, I'll give an example. So I was calling on beverage manufacturers, and I saw that this company was mentioned in a national trade magazine for their new product line. So I called the guy up that was mentioned in the thing, and I started asking him questions and asking him about his product line. And then I was like, hey, I see that in Stop and Shop. I go to Stop and Shop all the time. He was like, oh yeah, that's one of the retailers that we use, He's going down the list. And then I started asking him questions about shipping. Like, man, I probably deliver to that Freetown location in Assinet, Mass. Gosh, I mean, at least 7 times a month. I go, I've had trucks have to sit there for X amount of time and yada, yada. How's that been for you? And then he starts talking about all the headaches and all that. And then I start asking, well, hey, Josh, just, cut to the chase. I mean, so you had all those issues. I mean, what'd your broker do about it? I mean, what was the process in which he amended the situation? What ended up happening? And then just have some consequence questions after that. Like, well, if that continues to happen and that's how it's handled, how do you think that's going to reflect upon your business, and kind of go down that. I didn't onboard him. I am supposed to talk to the guy again next month. However, I really try to get specific. Never, ever talk about price. Never. I'll tell people right away, I'm not your cheapest option, nor do I want to be. But I will be efficient. I will communicate. And at the end of the day, you talked about wanting it get done right. I mean, that's why we're on the call. That's what I can give, yeah, I've been pretty busy the last 2 months. I have been doing probably about 15 to 20 outbound calls a day, like Connor was talking about. Definitely nowhere near 100. LinkedIn, a lot of LinkedIn. I use a 3-prong approach: email, cell phone, LinkedIn, office phone. I even have a list of 10 target accounts that I know use brokers. I know ship over 500,000 in revenue, in spend a month. And I know that they use load boards or bid boards. So I send them Christmas cards. I mean, I try from every angle that I can with different people in the company, and just focus on new lead generation and outreach on the leads that I do have, if that makes sense.
Levi, you have anything to add?
So lately, I haven't done a whole lot of prospect. I'm kind of with Connor on growing what I have currently. Some of the customers, clients that I have, I've worked with for over 5 years, even as a W-2. And I cultivated the relationship from then till today. And even with my contacts no longer there, I've built relationships with all of the other load planners, or whatever you want to call them, logistics coordinators. I will say I've my last W-2 employer, I found my niche. Originally, I said I started with Tyson Foods. I was doing reefer and food, refrigerated freight for 3.5, 4 years. And then my last employer, I kind of got into a flatbed hotshot client out of Houston. And after figuring that out, running that account for 3-4 months, I just started hammering the phones for anybody that ships similar items or products. And I've landed probably 5 or 6 other clients out of the Houston area, shipping the same exact kind of stuff. Some may be, 48-foot flatbed, some may be 53 step decks, whatever. But really just trying to grow from within the past 3 months from being an agent.
100%. Got a question from Kevin. Cell phone over office phone? ?
That's all I use.
Easy answer.
Connor, you're muted.
Thanks. Yeah, to a point. If the company is like a $1 billion company or more, I'm gonna go office phone. There's no point in me going cell phone. But that honestly, 100 million or less cell phone, I'm not even gonna think about your office phone. I'm gonna call your cell phone.
Yeah. I would agree. On that. I wouldn't say cell phone over office phone. I call both. I've got a sales cadence. It's basically, it's based on a 4-week outreach, trying to get first contact. And it talks about changing, email, cell phone, office phone. I try to stick to that, but I think I've seen the best luck over cell phone. It's easy to start a conversation. I'll just be like, hey man, look, my name's Ricky. Listen, I know this is your cell phone. You're probably going to hate me. I'm a broker. do you want to hang up now or can we keep talking? And I've gotten hung up before. Yep, see ya, click. But I've had a lot of people laugh at that too. And they'll be, how'd you get my cell phone number? Listen, man, I'll be honest. I spent like $25,000 on Zoom info so I could call you. I spent that money just because I want to call you. I know everything about your business, man, and I want to learn more. Like I'll say something really off the wall, sarcastic with my Boston accent. I'll try to use it instead of dumbing it down. Like I'll try to use it, and if I have to become the sideshow to get 2.5 minutes of your time, I'll do it. So I can have a conversation, you know what I mean? But yeah, I like cell phones. Yeah.
I think it's so funny that people still.
Huh?
Do you log it in Sales Dash then when they hang up there? Or?
I do. I put HU as hung up. Yeah. Oh yeah, I use Sales Dash. Josh knows that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to give a plug since Josh is co-hosting this month. I know you use Sales Dash, Ricky, and you're a big fan of Sales Dash. I think you were just saying before the show you referred another one of your friends over to Sales Dash.
Yep. Another agent. Yeah.
I find it so funny that people still, because like we get it on our side too. Sometimes, like we'll call, whether it's sales managers, VPs of sales, sometimes CEOs, COOs, whoever it may be, and people still say like, how'd you get my cell phone number? Like, how do you guys still not know about Zoom info or all the other? I mean, and how have you not been cold called on your mobile phone before?
Right.
Or this is the other one you could say. I'd be like, listen, I had to lie to at least 3 people to get this number. So please just give me the 5 minutes because I put in a lot of work.
I like that one.
I have a question for you guys. I have a quick agent question here, Matt. Like long term for you guys, and I kind of like to hear this individually, just as agents. I mean, obviously, when you go to be an agent, you want to make a lot of money. But you guys have all kind of also talked about the hours piece, right? And how long it can be. And when we talked to John Rogers last week, John was talking about, hey, by 2028, he wants to be done because of the amount of time and, he wants to spend time with his kids and all that stuff. And I think if you're in a W-2, one of those routes would be to go up to management, potentially start your own brokerage, right? And have people underneath you. But how do you guys sort of see that from a long-term standpoint now that you've been an agent?
Yeah, I'm only going to do this for like 10 more years. My goal is to, squirrel away as much as I can, make my money now. The hours are crazy. I can't do it forever. Getting married in March. And so, at some point, a kid, and I don't want to have to think about how much goes on here with that. Do this for 10 years, make as much as I can. And who knows what I'll want to do in 10 years, but this gives me options. Is kind of how I look at it.
You're looking to bring on a sub agent or someone underneath you to kind of help out as well at some point this year. Right?
Yeah. If I'm predicting everything right, then hopefully this sometime this year, I'll be bringing someone on to kind of help out and so that can mean it's 10 years. I take a step back and have someone kind of run everything, my book of business. I don't really know what taking a step back looks like, but I do kind of give myself a timeline of about 10 years on this.
I don't really see myself doing anything else for the rest of my life. I actually enjoy it genuinely. Very high stress, high strung, but I have some connections. My wife handles marketing for a Peterbilt dealership group. My goal is eventually to add a few trucks of my own, run a brokerage and have the asset division. And eventually, when I feel comfortable enough to branch out from being an agent, being a full-time owner, being responsible for everything. I know there's a lot of costs and things for that now, and that's kind of where the agent model comes into play, but it helps with new agents cover some of those expenses, insurance, whatever, MC numbers, all of that. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy the agent model and don't see myself doing anything else for at least for a long, long time.
That's what Will's not here, but that's pretty much he's just transitioning out of his agent role to his own MC and pretty much did that path as well, to kind of get started. Then I think, I don't know if it was 30, 40 million in sales and hired a bunch of people in an office and then are slowly transitioning out to their own MC. So I think that's a common path, especially because the first year in credit is so bad. It's not even the cost of having no credit to work with you.
One of my old clients that I've worked with for 5 years, he branched out and started his own brokerage last January, and he has been calling me, asking me to, find him coverage for this and just tell him that me, and my word of mouth will help them trust him to be able to pay him for the load and whatnot. He's having a Zilliot and Cash App or whatever, just until he could build credit or make sense to do a factoring company.
Yeah, that's the hardest part of your first year of a brokerage for sure. How about you, Ricky? I feel like you're going to give a similar answer to Levi.
Yeah,
you love it, and you're probably going to do it until
lifetime broker.
You're like 60 or 70.
So there is no way I'm going to be booking trucks and tracking and tracing loads at 60 years old. There's no way. So I'm also getting married this year. I'm getting married in May, and she would divorce me before if she heard that. No, it's too much time. It's too much time. I enjoy it. I'm at a place in my life right now where it's workable. I've got a family unit that this schedule works for, but at the end of the day, it is taking away from them. And, you got to give and take, right? It's a balance. I am on the beam right now. I'm balancing well. However, for the future, I'd say probably closer to Connor's answer. Today, right now, there's nothing in the world that can make me want to create my own MC.
Right.
Too many risks. Not that I'm saying that Levi's idea is poor, just for me. I think it takes a certain type of person to do it. I think that I'm just not that type of person. I prefer to delegate to a team. So I'd like to have some level of sub agents, bring people on, do the busy work, and then eventually groom somebody to be more of an account manager so I could grow my agency within HD large enough for me to step back and take like an 8 to 5 work day and have somebody that I can depend on to handle the rest of it. But right now I'm really just focused on, I'm getting to the point where it even makes sense to bring on one person, right? I mean, that's a big jump. That's a big jump to begin with. So, but yeah, ever evolving, man, ever evolving. Who knows? Maybe I'll say something different tomorrow.
What would you want that sub agent to handle for you? So like you obviously could focus on one side. What would you focus on? What would you have them focus on?
So we're in the process of onboarding a large enterprise customer. It's going to be big enough that I would want somebody for track and trace. So I'm looking at like a pod model. So you've got cradle to the grave, which is what we all do. And then within my cradle to the grave to build off to a pod model. So I would have somebody that first give them track and trace, give them a blueprint. This is what you need to do. Then once he starts to learn how to manage a little bit better with carriers and he can start getting better with carrier selection, maybe teach him how to broker loads. Brokering loads means answering the phone, booking and posting in trucks, quoting, booking, posting trucks. That's what brokering is. Track and trace is operational. That's something that a broker can do, but you can also hire somebody to do. Mm-hmm. So I'd be looking to bring somebody on specifically for operational help. However, I wouldn't want them quoting or necessarily booking trucks right away until I get them to a point where I feel they're comfortable doing that. Then take some of that busy work away. Now, all of a sudden, I can spend a little bit more time focusing on new business development, maybe having some sort of sales only sub-agent position where somebody who doesn't want to do any operational work will just go out and I'll give them a percentage for new business that they bring on and they don't have any responsibility. HD offers that to agents for larger accounts, which is something that I've actually done where I don't want to deal with any of it. I'll pass it off. I'll get a cut. Or if I want to be an account manager, I can still get a cut. I'm just not booking, tracking, and tracing anything, right? So there's a couple avenues. And as we're talking about it, I'm kind of thinking about it, and my opinions are changing. So it's ever evolving.
Yeah. No, my goal with the trucks, I have a background with a fleet. I manage 50 reefers, so I'm able to. I know kind of the expenses, what it takes, what kind of drivers you're looking for. You need, like, just with operational help, you need somebody you can depend on. You need the same thing with drivers. I know 5 people off the top of my head that I could call right now from being a former driver that they would come hop in the truck if I could fund the truck and had the MC number, the insurance, and all that good stuff. But not to that point yet.
You see that too. We should have. I should have brought on. We had 2 or 3 agents who actually own trucking companies, and they run some of their freight directly through their trucks, and they broker out ones that they're for overflow. It's actually a good path for trucking companies to be agents. I think but that's a whole nother topic. I should have had one of them come on too. I guess I got to ask this question just because obviously I might clip this later. So I know you guys had all mentioned earlier. I know Ricky mentioned he talked to a couple different agent programs. I know Levi talked to 6. Connor talked to multiple. What were you guys looking for when you guys made the move? I mean, it's a big move, making a move from W-2 to an agent program. None of you just looked at one agent program. So what were you guys kind of looking for? What was that kind of process like?
So for me, I talked to small, medium, large agent programs. I think I talked to 5, 6, something like that. My biggest thing is, like I said, when I was looking to move over, was I hated all the moving goalposts. So I wanted the freedom to run my business how I wanted to run my business. That's obviously, most programs are going to give you that. After that, I'm kind of looking, how big is the agent program? Me personally, I didn't want there to be a ton of agents already in the program, because then I have to worry about, well, if I bring this customer over, does John have that? Or, has someone been working on whoever for however long? So just worried about saturation. And then at the end of the day, it was, take the offers and negotiate the best deal for myself in terms of payout, bad debt, expenses, all that stuff.
Did y'all talk to any other agent programs that offered you the ability to sell their trucks?
Oh, yes. I think I did.
It was like a lower split, but you were able to sell the trucks to shippers or whatever. Yeah.
Right. There was an asset-based one I think I talked to. I think you're right, where it was a lower cut or something like that. But it gave you, I guess it gave you that power to say, hey, we do have assets as well. I worked at an asset-based broker. That was my first brokerage. Any broker that says they have assets, 9 times out of 10, your load's getting brokered. It's just how it goes. But, so I don't think there's really any difference for me selling if I say I don't have assets or I do. I don't think it changes anything for me personally.
Now, the first, you asked what do we look for in agent programs, Matt? From what I noticed when I talked to however many it was, 5 or 6, all the numbers were between 50 and 70% profit splits. And so that's the number one thing I looked at, like, where I'm going to get best bang for my buck for what the effort that I'm going to put into my business. And then, like you said, Connor, the saturation was a big thing. And I hopped on a call with Matt and Josh. Y'all were honestly, I think, the last agent program I'd spoke with, and within 2 or 3 days, I was like, let's do it. I don't know. I felt like actual trust from you guys for whatever reason. I feel like I could get along with every one of you. Josh, Camilo. I mean, I met with 3 of y'all before I even started. Those are my biggest things that I was looking for.
I think that's a big one. I mean, when you're going from a W-2, a salary position role, and you're going to a straight commission role, you got to have some level of trust, because I talk to W-2 reps all the time. I'm sure you guys were that way too. I mean, it's a nerve-wracking thing when you're going from having a salary, health insurance, and you're going to a straight commission, job where you're not guaranteed. What about you, Ricky?
So I think, they both kind of touched on a couple of the things. So I was coming from another agent program, right? I mean, that's what the situation was for me when I came onto HD. So 2-part question: going from a W-2 role to an agent program, the questions I asked myself were, am I ready to make 100% commitment into new business development to build a book of business? It requires time, effort, and it does require skin in the game. So that was the first question I asked. And then the second question I asked was, am I going to be partnering with somebody that's going to help me grow, who wants me to grow, who's willing to pour back into the tools that I use to aid that, is the technology, the tools, the TMS, the software, all of it. Would I be able to find somebody who would be able to take me with no book of business, right? Because everybody here knows, like, when you're trying to sign up as an agent, the first thing they ask is, how big's your book of business? Because there's a cost. I mean, well, depending on who. So that's another thing. So when I went out there, like, it'd be like, 80% split, but I've got to pay for Selectix Stat. I've got to pay for my truck stop. I've got to pay for my TMS seat. I've got to pay for macro point. I've got to pay for, there's all, they itemize you to hell. And so like, I was like, okay, I don't want to deal with that. Right.
Those things do you pay for at HD?
So I'm getting there. Right. So that was my first question was like, okay, so how are you gonna itemize me? And HD was one of the only brokerages. The place that I came from also didn't charge you for the tools, right? That's why when I went from brokerage to agent, that's what I looked at: total cost, total exposure. How much are they willing to invest in me? Because an agent program that's telling me that I have to come up with DAT for the month 1, truck stop for month 1, highway for month 1, what that's telling me is they're not taking any risk. Right. They just want to kind of grow fat. And that's not what I wanted. I wanted to partner with a company that was growing organically, that the agent program didn't have a bunch of saturation, but there was still some health to it. I ended up with no book of business, right? I didn't have one. I kind of went with this other brokerage that was, they told me a lot that just wasn't true. And then getting onboarded, I just saw a lot that was going on. Like Matt had said, there was carriers not getting paid, credit issues, money issues. I was like, look, this is affecting my livelihood. I need to make a change. I think I reached out to you, Matt. And then we had a conversation that day. We got onboarded pretty quick. I couldn't have been happier. I mean, when I made the decision to go with my book of business, now I had leverage and skin in the game to be able to talk to Armstrong, priority one. And I would agree with Levi. Like, I think when I spoke to you and Josh, it just felt like these are people I can trust. And then now being here for so many months, I can say, that trust was placed correctly, and we don't pay for anything. I don't pay for tracking. I don't pay for DAT. I don't pay for Selectus. I don't pay for highway. We just got this new software that I actually turned the company onto, Genlogs. It's the most cutting edge AI out there for carrier sourcing and tracking. I mean, it's plugged into Easy Pass Lane, CCTV. You can look up any MC number and see where the trucks are based on pictures, actual photos of the truck, license plate, everything. So this is a company that was investing back into itself to help grow with the agents and the team members that it does. So that's really what drove me to do it. Not to mention we get paid weekly. Not to mention I don't have to get paid once a month. Like my other place, I was getting paid once a month for the previous month. So that means whatever I made in December, I wouldn't get paid until the end of January. I mean, try to manage that. It was a pain in the butt. I get paid weekly now. We don't have bad debt, but we also have insurance on accounts. So we insure our receivables. I mean, imagine if you have a company that goes delinquent. Most agent programs, the agent's on the hook for those. So that was another question I would ask, like, what's my exposure on my book of business? Josh was like, well, we insure all our receivables. So we're insured up to 90%, which is standard, industry standard. So if somebody goes delinquent, obviously, like, we'll work with you, but if it gets up to like above 100 days or something like that, obviously, we may have to have a discussion. Well, I mean, just do the math. It's easy. You could do it on a napkin. Would I rather have $100,000 conversation or a $10,000 conversation? So that how much is that company looking out for my best interest in aligning it with theirs? And that's what I saw with HD. We're trying to sail in the same direction. Nobody's pulling against each other.
That's one of the questions I think that a lot of people don't think about or ask. I would say 80% of the agents I've signed have never asked that question, 90%. But I hear it from current agents once something happens. I talked to a guy a while back, $200,000. Now he's, in some dispute with his agent programs. The company went bankrupt. They don't have insurance on their receivables, and now out $200,000. And I talked to someone the other day who didn't even know that was the thing. So I think some people don't think about that because it was W-2. You're not a 1099 contractor. It's your company. But that's probably one of the questions I personally think isn't asked enough. I wonder if my buddy Zach at Alliance is listening to this show, but I'm a big fan of his. But yeah, I don't know. Josh, do you have anything else to add?
No, I mean, might as well clip that. That's your HD Ships commercial right there.
There you go. Remarketing.
Well, yeah, you guys appreciate the help of you guys coming on. I mean, that's kind of, I'd say the most fun part about my job is, you guys, there's other guys and gals, unfortunately, I can't have on this show. But so many of you guys I talk to all the time, and whether about work or other things, it's fun to kind of bring you guys on the platforms for some of our audience to meet. And also you guys probably will help me out a little bit too, indirectly as well. So if there's any shippers watching, definitely give these guys a shout. I can, say they all have great work ethics, as you said. And anything else you guys want to add before we kind of wrap up the show?
No, I appreciate you all having me on. And good conversations. Like hearing, I think it sounds like a lot of our reasons were about the same on why we kind of moved over to the agent program. So kind of cool to know I'm not alone. Everyone's kind of in the same boat here.
Hey, Levi, when you start your new MC, your asset authority, you're gonna hook me up with some good rates, right, on my Reefer stuff.
I don't know if I'm getting Reefers or not.
Oh, you go dry van?
I think I'm going flatbeds.
Flatbeds. Well, I'm going steel, so hook me up.
I got enough people in Houston. I know enough people in Houston now.
You probably do, right?
There's lots of flatbed work down there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Flatbed capital, that and hot shots.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that we've got leadership change in the country, there's going to be a lot more fracking and drilling going on. So I think line pipe is gonna start. We're going to start seeing some inventory flowing, which will be good for the industry down there.
Being from South Mississippi, everybody I went to high school with goes to the oil field.
Oh yeah, kid sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah, well, it's all about who you know.
All right, guys. Well, have a good weekend, and appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
There goes.
That was fun, man.
Yeah,
that was the first that I've done that, so it was fun bringing on some people that I've seen kind of from the beginning and talked to them, and I was glad they had good things to say, and it was fun, man. It was fun to have you on the show for the last month. I know Will will be back next week, and excited to have him back. But it was a fun month with you. Something unexpected, but turned out to be pretty fun.
No, December was a pretty easier month to be able to help co-host and stuff. So this would have been a good one for Will to be on, with Will, owning his own brokerage and stuff, and being able to ask maybe some of the even harder questions. But yeah, it was cool to be able to hear from all of them and learn a little bit more about the agent route, since we work with some agents at Sales Dash that use a CRM, but when I was in brokerage, come from a different side of things. So it was cool to learn a little bit more about what the day in the life's like.
Yeah, 100%. It was fun. You got a shout out too. One of our agents, new customer coming your way too.
Yeah.
Buddies.
Love
Well,
that.
shout out to our sponsors, Multi-Service Fuel Card, been around since the 1970s. Patricia, Jessica, great. I just saw Jessica got VP, I think, of Women's Trucking or something, a big award or board position, which is really cool to see.
Awesome.
Great fuel card. Black Box, Will's company. Will be back next week. Load base, Stan the man, I like to say. Tracking used to be a dispatcher. Great product, loadbase.com. Hit them up on LinkedIn. Give them a demo. Check them out. HD Ships, obviously, company I recruit agents for. Company where just had 3 of our agents on the show today. Sales Dash, Josh, you want to say your last thing about last opportunity to talk about Sales Dash?
No, just, hey, we're a CRM for freight. So if you guys are ever in the market for a CRM, you can check out our website, reach out on LinkedIn if you ever want to check it out. But we'll continue to be a sponsor. And yeah, man, it's been fun. It's been fun co-hosting, but ready to just get back to the typical stuff and let Will fill back in.
Yeah, it was fun having you, and it'll be good having Will back as well. And our banner sponsor, TAFS, they sponsored the Broker Carrier Summit, top 10 factoring company. Just great people. How could I forget too? The logo for before I get to them, the logo for Trio. They do all of our back office work. Nearshoring company. JJ,
Trio.
great. I think we took their logo. Maybe I have a different banner. So Will normally runs the banners and everything of the show. I think maybe I took a different banner because I just realized Trio's not on it. But it'd be kind of a shame to not mention them. They're doing all of our posts on all of our editing. JJ, Renz, great people over there. And yeah, like what I said about TAF's top 10 factoring company, Ryan, Rob, great people, great rates, great customer service. Check out their episode. We had them on our show a couple months back too. And we'll be back next week. We got a really good one next week that I think a lot of people are going to want to hear about. So
love it.
we'll be back, and have a good weekend, Josh.